everybody, and welcome back to Musings by Nikki. I'm Nikki, and today we are here with my giant bin that had way more scraps than this, but I went through and picked out some. And as I have been fussy cutting 1,000 piles of, look at all these fussy cut florals, oh goodness. That's not even all of them. As I've been fussy cutting things and cutting kits up for this, the ephemera up for this kit, I thought, let's make some little clusters to go in the corners of some tags and in the corners of some pages. So I picked out of my scraps some pieces that I thought might look really cute with this kit. So then I've been sitting here having coffee and thinking about how I want to do this. So I have come to the conclusion that today I want to do a few things. Excuse me. I have a video from probably, I don't know, a year ago or something, where I did a huge bin of scraps like this, and it's a process. I am going to put gloves on as we talk. It is a super fun, messy process, and it requires very little skill and very few tools. So I literally just have this big bin because if you can spread your scraps out more, that's great. And I have the world's smallest gloves, just so you know, they are the world's smallest. I think they're child size, but I also have child size hands. So the child size gloves are just hard to get on because they're like latex free and they're super tough. Anyway, this will prevent us from getting, like distress sprays all over my fingers and then having blue fingers for 3 days. So I want to do the scraps. And then I want to also I pulled out a couple pieces of fabric and some white cheesecloth. So I think once we're done doing these, then I will put these in, and I want to just spatter these with a little bit of white and maybe a few colors, I'm not sure. But I want to make these scraps a little bit more specific to the color scheme for this kit, which, like here is kind of a piece from the kit, and I want to make these a little bit brighter and have some more blues and pinks and yellows. So I also have my heat gun. This is how I'm going to dry this up in between because you don't want it to get super wet. And then I've got some water over there and a brush. Anyway, I am just going to go through and do a little bit of spraying. And so then the goal is you do one, I don't want to do too much in any one spot. And if I can get it to kind of just barely, drop a few big blobs on there like that. I don't know how well the camera will pick up all of this, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put down some of this, and then these are Distress Oxide sprays. And somebody had said, I think I had asked in the last video if anybody was interested in, I'm going to now put some water down a little bit because it will react with the Distress Oxide. And then before I start drying this up, because what I'm going to do is I've only got the top layer of this, right? Then I'm going to dry it, and then I will mix them around and do the same thing. Rinse and repeat, right? So this jar here is just my little jar that I'm going to move over here to pop off the top. Oh, it's been a minute since I had that open. It didn't want to open. Okay, and then I've got my brush, and I'm not sure what you call this kind of brush, but that is the brush that I'm using because all those little, it's like a fan brush, but I'm not sure what you call, does it say on here? No, of course not. It's a number 4. Anyway, what I'm going to do is go like this, and then I just kind of tap it on the edge of my jar. Oh, and I don't even have to do that because, so this is just gesso that I've watered down, and I like gesso because it gives texture. But I mean, you can do this with white, just watered down white paint. The nice thing about the gesso also just being watered down like this is that the water reacts with the distress oxides as well. So these scraps have already been through the first layer of treatment in my original video, and they've had coffee and some other things splattered around on them. But, oops, I'm going to move a few things here. But now I'm just, like I said, I'm going to make them a little bit more personalized to this kit so the colors really look cool. Now I'm going to dry this layer, which I will fast forward through or cut out because you don't need to listen to this dry or go. And then I will come back and we'll do the next step. Okay, so I dried it up as best I could, and now I'm going to literally just toss it around. And the goal is to just kind of do this a few times and get a bunch of cool staining. So like on some of these pieces, right? Now won't this look super cool when I go to layer these things up together to make little clusters, right? So like I said, some of these have already had stamping done to them, because that's another thing you can do is just spread them out like this and then take a stamp and go stamp around on top. I'll try to remember to link the video that I did this in, but I'm so bad at remembering that stuff. Anyway, now that I've got it spread out, I'm going to just keep doing the same thing. I'm going to go in with my sprays again. And I also have a metallic pink, a metallic acrylic that I thought might look kind of cool. It's like a rose gold. And I thought that might look kind of cool sprayed in here. Or, I mean, splattered in. And then also, I've taken in watercolor in the past to go around with the watercolor and drip some of that in, and that looks cool. And of course that reacts with this distress oxide. So the stuff that's the oxide and the distress oxide reacts is water reactive. So that's part of what makes using, you know, distress oxide cool. And if you use distress oxide to do your stamping with, if you do stamp around on top of this and you use oxide to stamp with and then dry it up, the more you keep layering this in here and the more you keep using water on top of that, like this watered down gesso and stuff, it will just keep reacting and it'll smudge the stamps around. Like here's one right here. So it had stamping here, and now that stamping has been moved around a little by the water and stuff. So anyway, I've got this, it's like a rose gold. Yeah, brushed rose gold it says. And I've got a little bit of water here in a tray. It always makes such a nice noise, huh? Let me grab a brush. Let's see. I'll show you what I've got going on here. Ooh, that picks up nice. See, you can see it's kind of, so this is just an acrylic, a metallic acrylic paint. And I thought some of this might look kind of cool. And I've just watered it down, probably like 3-to-1. So we'll see how that shows up. But I thought that might look kind of cool. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna keep working on this. I'm gonna, you know, splatter and dry and splatter and dry and mix and do this a few more times, and we'll see what we end up with. And I'll catch you back once I'm, you know, sufficiently pleased with my scraps, and then we'll move on to doing the labels and the fabrics and stuff, okay? So I'll catch you on the flip side of this project. Okay, guys, I am sufficiently happy with this. Like, look at some of these. They are going to be so fun to create with. So I've got these all dried up and everything, and I'm literally just going to throw my scraps into this bin because I want to use the big bin to keep working in. And my thought is that now that this bin is full of spray and Distress Oxide and stuff, that maybe what I'll try to do, and we'll see, this could go one of two ways. This could be really awesome and be really cool, or it could turn into just a big brown, so there's my bin of yumminess. I'm going to set that over here. So I'm going to try with, let's see, let's go with the smaller piece first. So my thought is there is like Distress Oxide and stuff all over. So if I take plain water and spray it to kind of reactivate it, then I try to just kind of blot my cloth around on it, and let's see what I can pick up. I don't know. This, like I said, this could be awesome, or it could just turn into a muddled brown mess. But my thought was it would be cool to have some cloth kind of colored to the same colors as well, and we could use it for, I mean, whatever, pockets, fabric flips. Oh, it's kind of working. I mean, it is kind of all turning. I'm trying not to like wipe. I'm trying to blot. Let's see. It's kind of just a big bluish green, but there are some, you can kind of see. You know what it reminds me of when you clean up. Oh, come on, my water bottle doesn't want to spray. It kind of reminds me of like when you use your thing, your like a baby wipe to clean up after stamping and stuff. That's kind of what this looks like right now. Okay. It's not, you know, the good news is it's not a big mottled brown mess. So that's awesome. So now I kind of wonder if this will work with, yeah, honestly, you guys, here, let me see if I can lift it up. It kind of looks like, you know, Monet inspired fabric. So I kind of wonder if it'll work the same way. I don't know. Let's see. My other thought was to do some sprays and then get the fabric wet. Okay, I'm going to dry this and I'll be right back. Okay, it's not all the way dry, you guys, but I'm really liking the way this is looking. So I think I want to, I'm going to hang it over here to finish drying. Hold on. Okay, I'm thinking with this next piece that's a little bit bigger, what if now this is just old, let's see, this is just not wanting to spray very well. This is just some old scraps of, like, it feels kind of like a linen, maybe. So I'm thinking, what if I get it fairly wet and then try to crunch it up a little and do some spraying right to it. Like this. I don't know. I'm experimenting, guys. Okay, let's try this. Okay. I don't want to saturate in any one color. Oh, I did pull out wild honey too. Oh, in case you're wondering what I'm using. This one is picked raspberry. Then I just used salty ocean. And this one is wild honey. I've also used peacock feathers. Whoops. And shabby shutters. So out of my distress spray, oxide sprays, these were the ones that seemed to be kind of close to the colors that I was going for. You know what? Now I'm gonna, yeah, okay. I'm gonna move it around and re-scrunch. So then I get some of the white areas with a different color. Oh, and then you know what? I'm gonna flip over and do the last color on the back, which is the peacock. And maybe I'll do a little bit more pink because that didn't seem to come through on the back quite as much. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to stop myself. And now I'm going to try and spray it with water again. This is definitely, you want gloves on for this mess, you guys. Okay. Now there's like little bits of it all the way around, and I've got some strips of cheesecloth. So I'm going to see if I can smash up some of that into the cheesecloth, because my thought was kind of the same thing. Can I make some cheesecloth that looks like it's got some different colors on it as well, by dabbing and wiping and using the excess bits and stuff and junk. The cheesecloth does not want to soak this up nearly as well. I probably should have gotten it wet first, you know, that probably would have made this process go easier. I'm almost out of water in here, so I might need to go refill, because it's kind of picking up the color, which is kind of what I'm going for. Well, not kind of, it is what I'm going for. Okay, this water bottle, work with me. Okay, guys, so, wow, you can even use it to clean off your gloves. So this kind of turned into just a green, blotchy, greeny, yellow color, which I'm not mad at, honestly. I think when it dries, it'll be really kind of a light pastel-y color, and I think it'll be really pretty. I do have one more chunk of that, and this I love. I love how this turned out, and I think once that dries, it'll be so cool. Let me see if my hands are... Let me just show you. Look at, there's the page from the kit, or a piece from the kit that kind of has all the flowers and colors. And look at how it looks next to that. Oh, I think it's going to be so cute to play with. So this I'm going to let to dry, and this I'm going to let dry. And I'm going to do my other piece of cheesecloth. Hold on. Okay, guys, I did the other cheesecloth, and then I kind of dried things up in there so I could use it for one final thing, and that is to take these 2 sheets of labels. These are my Shabby Lovely labels and my watercolor labels But I thought that I would maybe like tone them down or make them match the kit a little bit more by personalizing them with, again, some splatters of white gesso. And because the backgrounds in my Wildflowers kit that I'm using have a lot of paint spatter. Now, also, the other thing that doing this, because this is watered down gesso, the other thing that this could potentially accomplish is that most of the time, like, you don't want to do this to your kits. However, this time, when you print with an inkjet, which is what I print with, then the inkjet will react, the inkjet ink will react to certain types of liquids and waters and stuff as well. So I am thinking that this is going to smear and run the inkjet ink, and that's why I don't even need to put any other colors on here. And I don't know, can we see? Yeah, you can see where the dots are, and they're already starting to mess with the ink. It's starting to bleed just a little. So I'm gonna let it do its thing. And I think, I was gonna say, I think I might let it dry naturally. I don't know. I'm gonna put a few more on this watercolor one specifically, just because that's such a diluted, it's, you know, it's got really, not diluted, it's got undiluted, it's got much brighter color going on there. Okay, stop yourself, Nikki. I'm gonna let that, oh, you know, maybe I'll put a few spatters of this rose gold paint on there too, just because the rose gold is kind of cool, and a little bit of shimmer never hurt nobody. Although I'm not going to use this big brush, I'm going to use my little one from my gesso, because this gives better, like, little spatters. Yeah. So the goal is to just let these dry, and then I'm going to cut up these labels, and we'll have some labels then that kind of fit the kit a little bit better than even they would have just off the press, even though especially these Shabby Lovely labels would definitely fit the kit. But I feel like, okay, there, I feel like, stop yourself, Nikki, don't do too much. So I feel like this will now really go with the kit well. Once I cut them and I ink them, they'll go great in clusters with some of the other stuff, the other little scrappies that I made and things. So let's do this. I'm going to dry this up, then I'm going to clean up my desk because I have an absolute mess going on here. And then I'll come back at the very end and we'll just kind of look and do a reprise of the things that I made, and we will check out our results. Okay, I'll see you in a minute. Okay guys, so I have the final product of all the stuff. I have let this all dry, and I made some lovely spring rolls for dinner and enjoyed those. And now I'm back with the final dried down products that of the things that we did. So here, and I don't know if you're going to be able to really see this, but around the droplets, yeah, see, it's not really, around the droplets, there's a little bit of a line of the color that bleeds out. Anyway, it looks cool. So it bleeds out little lines, and so these now look a little more speckly like the kit itself. And then these, I love how these turned out as well. The little lines of color from the ink on the printer are a little more pronounced on these. So I'm going to cut these up before we come back next time. Then I've got my bin of dried down scraps and got some really awesome looking products here. Things that I'm like really excited to use into clusters. There's some really great looking sprayed scraps. This was a printed image, so here's kind of an example of what water can do. This used to be a much more crisp design, but the back of that's really cool too. Here's another cool piece. So yeah, I look forward to using some of these. And because you spray, sometimes you get a piece that just like the edge got sprayed, but then the bleed through is pretty cool. So anyway, we'll play with these scraps. Sometimes they do get a little stuck together, so you can either leave them stuck to each other, or if they get folded over, you can unfold them and use them. It's up to you. But it's a fun project. It's a nice messy little project, and it's fun. This is a piece of coffee filter. This one got really cool. It got really cool. So I look forward to making some little clusters up with these. And then here is the cheesecloth. This one dried down to a kind of a nice pastel green with little splotches of blue and yellow. That'll look really cool. This one, the pink and the yellow that I sprayed onto it kind of turned it into this like salmon-y color, but I'm not mad because the colors of the sunset are like my favorite all-time colors ever. And this little bundle here makes me very happy. It's like the colors of the sunset right here. And so I think by the time I cut it into little chunks to use it behind things in there, it'll look really pretty. It goes right with the kit. And then here is that first piece of cloth dried down. It kind of looks like tie-dye-ish. It kind of, I mean, it honestly, it really reminds me of like when you clean up with a baby wipe. That one. So it looks cool. Then the second one is like way more defined, right? So this one is way more defined, little splotchiness. And it looks cool too. On this side, there's a little more splotchiness. So that thing where I crunched it up and then, you know, got it wet and crunched it up, that technique, I would do that again. And it took the dye really well. And I think this will be fun to, you know, make some shredded up stuff to make pockets or to put into little clusters. I think that'll be cool. And then as I was kind of cleaning up at the end, I took a piece of paper towel and was just blotting up, and then I had to clean out the insides of like the caps, you know, so on the spray bottles, there's a little cap. So I would wad it up like this and clean out the cap because they get juicy after a while and they, you know, get all messy. So then I was using it to wipe it down like this. And this is what I got after cleaning all those up. So I thought, okay, well, I'm going to keep this too, because that would even be fun fodder to put some different, to put in some little pieces of cluster and stuff. You know, we'll add that to the clusters pile. Anyway, I hope you had fun doing a little bit of prep work for the Wildflowers Journal. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna cut these up, and then I'm gonna finish inking around the edges of stuff because I like to get as much of the inking done as I can ahead of time so that when it comes to work, I can just like work through everything. And then I will come back and film in the next video. We will start actually like making some embellishments. And oh, let me show you also how happy the edges. So I put all those sari silk that I ripped up, I sewed them onto the edges. So here are the 3 single signature journals. This one I did a little bit lighter pastel-y. And then these ones I use that bright, shocking kind of bright pink on, and I love, love, love them. And then here is the 5 signature journal. Oh, look at all that happy fluffiness on the edge there. It just feels cool. It's, you know, it's like eye candy, and it has great feel and texture. So yeah, I am really excited for these journals. I think they're going to be so fun and bright and happy. So anyway, guys, I'm going to keep working on processing through some of this stuff. And then, like I said, I'll be back and we'll start making some ephemera and decorating journal pages. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you guys are safe and healthy. Oh, thank you for all the wonderful comments on my last video, on my life update. That was very, very chatty and long. I have missed you guys, and I really, watching that made me super appreciate my subscribers, old and new. So anyway, guys, take care, stay safe, and until I see you next time, God bless you. Bye, guys.